Hi, welcome to this week's mindset video. I want to talk to you about an important and sometimes humbling topic that you can demonstrate to your child, which is the value in making mistakes. When a child is afraid to make mistakes, there are lots of pitfalls that can create with the learning process. It can make your child stop trying, avoid challenging work, resist engaging in the learning activities, or even try to hide their mistakes, which are all really human responses to being afraid to not get something right. And so you can help them develop a different attitude, a different mindset toward mistakes, a positive one, a growth mindset, one that actually benefits them rather than hinders them by modeling a few different principles. One of those is just developing the mentality, in your child by modeling it yourself, that learning is not about getting the right answer. When we focus on sort of the goal, or we can become so overly focused on that final answer and whether it's correct or incorrect, that becomes the sole focus. And instead, by focusing more on the process and the exploration of a topic and how we get from a question to the answer, and really, help your child to see the bigger picture, which is the experience of learning and the process of learning, rather than being very narrowly focused on an answer and whether it's right or wrong. So that's one thing to keep in mind, in ourselves. All of this comes from ourselves and our own mentality. It's really, really hard to encourage this mindset in your child if you don't have it yourself. And so the focus needs to be mostly on your own mentality towards it, and then, demonstrating and transferring that to your child. Another is showing your child how mistakes can actually be helpful because they eliminate one of the incorrect answers. So for instance, when putting together a puzzle, that's, a activity that can sometimes be frustrating for little children. They try a piece in a certain place and it doesn't work and can be super frustrating. But by using that as an example to show them that, well, that eliminates that puzzle piece as a choice, and so now we can set that aside, and that's actually really helpful to know that, because we can go through and eventually eliminate all of the incorrect choices and find the correct one. So show them that trying something and it being incorrect can actually be a really beneficial thing. This is how scientists work too. So you can use that as well. You can tell them, when your child is attempting something and it doesn't work that time, and then they need to, revisit it and try something else, they're actually thinking like a scientist. That's what scientists do using the scientific method. They're going to experiment with things and test, their hypothesis or their guess, and see if it's correct or not. And if it's incorrect, they continue to try something else to try to, discover the answer to their question. So when your child makes a mistake, they're thinking like a scientist, and then they need to go back to the drawing board and try again. Being honest, this is where it can be humbling. You need to be honest about your own struggles and your own mistakes. If a child really never sees the mistakes that we make, and how we handle them, then it can be very difficult for them to create a positive attitude, or positive strategies for them to deal with their own. So being really honest and open about the things that are difficult for you, mistakes that you've made, whether it's in the present right in front of your child, or whether it's things that you struggled with when you were in school, that can be really helpful to your child, to know that this is something that happens to everybody. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has to come back and figure out, how they're going to tackle that. You can talk to them about what those mistakes taught you, how you overcame them. Model that positivity to your child. Staying positive also then about your child's mistakes is just as important, if not more important. So help them search, you can turn this into a little bit of a game. It's like a detective game. Okay, this didn't work. This wasn't the correct answer, or we weren't successful doing it this way. We didn't get the answer that we were looking for. We didn't, find the answer to our question with this. So we're going to be a detective, and detectives have to search in all kinds of places, and detectives have to try over and over again sometimes. And so we're going to be a detective to search for the right answer, and what that does is sort of reframe it onto the process. It's not about that final destination so much as it's about the process of looking for the solution to something. So it again just reframes it into a bigger picture and helps them to see learning as a process rather than being so results oriented. So by being honest about our own struggles and mistakes, being positive about our child's mistakes, and just helping them to see learning and growing and acquiring new skills and new knowledge as a process rather than as a results-oriented, correct answer, check mark or X type of situation, then it does help to develop that growth mindset, and it helps to keep them open to engaging with the learning process, even when it's difficult and challenging, even if they stumble, even if they run into a wall and don't quite know what to do next, or they're frustrated at themselves. You really help them to give them tools to overcome that and to push beyond it when you can reframe the learning process in this way, and when you can reframe mistakes in this way. So I hope you get an opportunity to incorporate a couple of these things this week and just sort of focus on your own mindset toward it, because again, that's where our children's mindsets primarily come from, is how we approach these things. And I hope this has been helpful, and I'll see you next week.